It's Dr. Rick with your Herbal 411 highlight. Today we're talking about yoga push-ups. If you don't practice yoga, the idea when you go to a class is to listen to the teacher, just let go of all expectations and follow through with the poses that the teacher is calling out until you have an ultimate summit pose at the end, which is the best expression of that class. And it does take some challenge to get to that pose, and usually the teacher will look at the class and throw out the challenging pose at the end to give everybody a sense of accomplishment. Since COVID, we have a lot of them online, but in many cases, the idea that I like to give to people is maybe in the morning, just do a 10-minute flow. So flow is sometimes called asana. The idea of a 10-minute asana is to keep it compressed, have a sense of accomplishment. You don't have to hit a big pose, but just do repetition. So I'm going to go through my usual yoga push-ups, and hopefully you can kind of modify this on your own or just keep it as is. With my patients and clients, I'll have them follow through with my yoga push-up routine, and they can certainly change their choices of poses, but this is just super easy. Number one, everybody knows push-ups. Whether you do them on your toes or on your knees doesn't matter. Number two, you can follow through, even if you don't practice yoga, you can follow through with some of the poses I'm calling out. Number three, it gives you a little bit of a disconnect in the morning or at night. So you don't necessarily turn on an endorphin and enkephalin rush, you don't get your heart pounding, but you just go through and practice the poses in addition to linking them to breath. And that's the beauty of yoga, is that you go through different poses as per the teacher's design, but in all this time, you're linking it to breath, and that's the magic. When you concentrate on the pose, concentrate on the breath, you tend to let go of every chore, schedule, task that you had for the day or the next day. And sometimes that's all you need. The brain just needs a little bit of a respite, a break. And when it has that, it actually recharges serotonin, oxytocin, a couple other things. It's always nice to get a hug and have happiness. But sometimes when that's not in the formula or it's not obvious during the day, this might get you there. So this is what we're going to do. So basically, I'll break this down into 4 different poses. This is something called a plank. And as I mentioned, you can do it on your toes or on your knees to take some of the weight off of your core. Plank pose is best used for core strengthening without hurting the back and turning on the upper extremity. So you can hold this for a designated amount of time. I like to link this to breath. And those of you who watched my 4-7-8 breathing shoulder routine, that's the same thing. So essentially you're going to have an inhale, a pause, and an exhale. Here we do inhale, pause, and then exhale as you go down. You want to keep the elbows bent into about 90 degrees. Then you get into an upward facing dog. In upward facing dog, the top of the feet are anchored to the floor. Knees kind of float above the mat, and then your torso is upward. So shoulders are above the wrists and hands until you take a deep breath in, hold your breath, and then switch. Curl the toes under and go into downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, you're just imagining an upside down V. And apex is your butt. Try to keep the legs as best as you can straight, and arms as well too. Try to dive the head down to where the elbows are and maintain. You can do breaths in this pose. When ready, take a deep breath in, hold, and then transition to plank while you exhale. As an alternative, with knees down, start in plank position. Deep breath in, hold, exhale. Then feet down, knees off the mat, upward facing dog. Deep breath in, hold, exhale, switch. You can loosen up a little bit. Take a deep breath in, hold, exhale, switch. And that's the sequence. So pretty easy. And I can get a good burn in my arms. Depending on how far apart my hands are, I can get more in the pec. Then I just go through that for about 10 minutes. So with the breath exercise, you can do breath exercise in meditation pose and just work on breath, 4-7-8 shoulder rolls. I'll put a link down below. Or you can go through it like a flow. Now you're not going to get a big pump, So it's not going to generate that much muscle force, but it is a way to do an exercise routine, do a little bit of breath work, and then hopefully have some mindful practice in that too. So it's a substitute. Now, the fourth variation to this will be if you wanted to work on shoulders as well a little bit. Again, it's not going to be a big muscle pump, but I'll show you what to do. So you start in plank. Upward dog. Downward dog. But here's a variation. If you wanted shoulder work, sometimes it's a little tough on the wrist, so you can turn your wrists in a bit. And that's pretty much it. So you're not going to get a huge pump, but you will have a level of fitness. You will turn on the heart rate a little bit. You probably won't get short of breath, but that's okay. I mean, I just killed this in about 10 minutes and I'm done for the morning. So this kind of asana is not meant to give you a huge pump, but I'll leave you with this. In bodybuilding competitions backstage, you usually don't have that many weights. There might be bands, there might be sandbags, there might be duffel bags, but the usual rule of thumb is you want to go on stage being a little pumped. And you can get pumped with doing something like this. You can do pull-ups, you can do jumping jacks, you can do planks, you can do push-ups. They can cause a bit of swelling if done properly and if you go slow. If you don't have any interest in getting a pump, that's okay, but just to show you that something as easy as this can give you a pump, and something as easy as this can give you a sense of mindful practice, happiness, and it's sustainable. So the benefits to my yoga push-ups are, number one, they're easy. Anybody can do it. You don't have to be a bodybuilder or a yoga practitioner. Number two, you can do them anywhere. Beach, bedroom, backyard. Number three, you don't really need equipment, as I mentioned. All you need is a mat, maybe a towel just to designate your area. Number four, it can give you a pump, as I mentioned. It won't necessarily burn fat, but you can maintain muscle. But by all means, don't plateau at this. This will be entry level or an accessory. Keep on striving to challenge muscle and mind to be as best as it can be or optimize your outcome. If you're challenged and can't apply this, you can certainly consult me on my Herbal 411 website, New Patient Consult, and I can design things for you within your context of limitations. Or if you are advanced and you want more, I can do the same. Regardless, thanks for watching up to this point. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, and I'll see you at the next video.